Good afternoon, classmates. My name is Randy, and today I'll be speaking on the legacy of Thomas Jefferson. We could say that hardly an American exists today who has not heard of this statesman and founding father. Basically, his place in history is secured forever, mostly because of the Declaration of Independence, which could be said is his greatest achievement, but also for the other two things that he wanted engraved on his tombstone, which are the Virginia Statute of Religious Liberty and the founding of the University of Virginia. He did a little bit more than that, though. He was also vice president. He was ambassador to France. He was also the governor of Virginia after the Revolutionary War. Um, Founding a university, that seems like a pretty good accomplishment for any of us. But there were greater things, such as his Declaration of Independence, like we said before. But most importantly, for me, and hopefully for any Christian, is his fight for religious liberty. And the idea that we can worship however we choose without government interference, that's very important. One of our most important freedoms, in fact, I believe. As far as Jefferson's own religious views, he didn't really speak on them often. He was very private about that, like to keep that stuff silent. A lot of people thought he was a deist during the day. For us, it doesn't seem like a big deal because we already have religious freedom. But in his era, that was a big deal. That was tantamount to blasphemy, to being anti-Christian. So we can appreciate now we don't have to worry about those things thanks to people like Jefferson. Some of his laws that he drafted, though, they seem a little harsh today because we're used to a certain standard. For instance, there were laws that he tried to draft against Sabbath breaking that made it illegal. For us, that would seem strange. It would seem like a breach in freedom of religion. But that was the time of that's what was happening during those times, is those different kinds of laws that we don't really understand what the reasoning for them are today. Jefferson was the kind of person that believed morality, decency, honor, and those sort of traits were necessary for the preservation of a free state. And going along with that, religion was what the glue that held those together, and so therefore was also important. It helped keep corruption at bay, and it kept society running smoothly. Oftentimes it seems people understand the man of Jefferson as being some kind of being that is beyond a normal person. In actuality, he was just a complex man. He was just like us. He had a lot of flaws, just like we do. One of those flaws, of course, was the issue of Sally Heming, which was a slave that he was alleged to have fathered children with. Whether or not he did is difficult to say. There is genetic evidence that says that his male line was directly part of her offspring. Circumstantial evidence also, his time while he was at Monticello with her and her pregnancy, they coincide, so it kind of gives a little credence to the claim that he was the children's father. But we don't have any 100% assurance that that's the case. It's probable that he is, most likely. A lot of historians believe so. And being all the evidence, it's fairly likely he's their father, but we'll probably never know for 100% certainty. Be that as it may, the point of that is that he's just a normal person. He's a man, he sins, he has issues just like the rest of us, and we can't put him on too much of a pedestal and expect him to be some kind of a perfect human that is incapable of making a mistake. And that often happens with a lot of the founding fathers. People believe that they're apart from us, that they're better or different. And they were just men of the times that had to do what they needed to do to secure their own freedoms. Going back to Sally Hemings, that was one major issue I think that I had with Jefferson, because the type of relationship that he had would have been very bad, because he was her master, she was the slave. Not acceptable then or now. So, but then again, it shows he was human. It gives us a view of him that shows that he's like us, that he can mess up, that he can make mistakes, and I think that is important in understanding his character.